Welcome to our deep dive into the captivating world of Greek mythology. These aren't just ancient bedtime stories, you know. The myths of the Greeks offer us a window into their culture, their understanding of the universe, and even their psychology. Today, we're uncovering some surprising and fascinating facts about the gods, heroes, and myths that have shaped our understanding of ancient Greece. Prepare to have your worldview rocked, Olympian style. You might imagine gods as these perfect, untouchable beings, but the Greeks didn't see them that way at all. They imagined their gods with very human flaws and foibles. They got jealous, they fell in love, sometimes with the wrong people or even cattle. They got angry, and they even held grudges like nobody's business. Zeus, the king of the gods, was notorious for his, shall we say, roving eye. His escapades caused all sorts of drama on Mount Olympus. But here's the thing. This very human portrayal of the gods tells us something really important about how the Greeks saw themselves in the world. They understood that even with great power, even with immortality, you're still going to have to deal with the messiness of life, of emotions, of bad decisions. There's a strange comfort in that, isn't there? Speaking of Zeus and his drama, let's talk about how he became top god in the first place. It wasn't pretty. See, his father was Cronus, a titan who had a bit of a god complex and a very bad habit of swallowing his children whole. Why? Because he was terrified that one of them would overthrow him, just as he had overthrown his own father. But Rhea, his wife, managed to save baby Zeus from this fate. When Zeus grew up, he waged war against Cronus, freed his siblings, Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon, and took over the heavens. Talk about family dysfunction. This epic power struggle became a foundational story for the Greeks, explaining the natural order of the cosmos. Now you might be thinking, okay, but what about the crazy stuff, the monsters, the magic, the talking animals? Well, for the ancient Greeks, these fantastical elements weren't just there for entertainment. Myths were their way of explaining the natural world, the changing seasons, the human condition. Take the story of Persephone and Demeter. Persephone, the goddess of spring, is kidnapped by Hades, the god of the underworld. Her mother Demeter, goddess of agriculture, is so distraught that she neglects her duties, causing the crops to wither and die. This becomes the Greek explanation for winter. See, it all connects. Chapter 4, Athena, goddess of headaches? Okay, this one's a real head-scratcher, literally. Athena, the goddess of wisdom, warfare, and strategic crafts, didn't have your typical birth story. Zeus, being Zeus, had swallowed his lover Metis, who was pregnant with Athena. Why? Because a prophecy warned that Metis' child would be more powerful than him. But here's where it gets weird. Zeus started experiencing a splitting headache. Hephaestus, the god of the forge, split Zeus's head open with an axe, and boom! Out popped Athena, fully grown and armored. It's a dramatic entrance, I'll give her that. Chapter 5. Prometheus, the original bad boy. Now, let's talk about Prometheus, a titan who dared to challenge the mighty Zeus. You see, Prometheus had a soft spot for humanity. He thought humans were capable of great things, but they lacked one crucial element, fire. So what did Prometheus do? He stole fire from the gods and gave it to mankind. This act of defiance had huge consequences. Fire, for the Greeks, represented more than just warmth and light. It symbolized knowledge, technology, and progress. By giving fire to humans, Prometheus jump-started civilization and incurred Zeus's wrath. His punishment? To be chained to a rock where an eagle pecked out his liver every single day, only for it to regenerate overnight. Talk about a rough Monday. Chapter 6. Monsters and mayhem. What's a good mythology without a healthy dose of monsters? The Greeks had a whole pantheon of terrifying and fascinating creatures. The Minotaur, a half-man, half-bull beast, trapped in a labyrinth. Medusa, with her deadly gaze that could turn you to stone. The Hydra, a multi-headed serpent whose heads grew back when cut off. And the Chimera, a fire-breathing hybrid creature with the head of a lion, the body of a goat, and the tail of a serpent. These monsters weren't just there to give us nightmares. They often represented the untamed forces of nature, the dangers lurking in the unknown, or the darker aspects of the human psyche. And who better to face these monsters than legendary heroes like Theseus, Perseus, and Hercules? Their epic battles became metaphors for the human struggles against adversity, the triumph of courage and ingenuity. Chapter 7. The Trojan War. All because of a beauty contest? You've probably heard of the Trojan War, the epic conflict that inspired countless stories, poems, and plays. But did you know that this legendary war was said to have been sparked by a beauty contest? Talk about high stakes. Eris, the goddess of discord, fittingly, wasn't invited to a wedding feast. Feeling snubbed, she decided to stir up trouble by tossing a golden apple inscribed for the fairest among the goddesses. Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite all claimed the apple, leading to a divine squabble. Zeus, wisely wanting no part in this, appointed Paris a Trojan prince as the judge. Each goddess offered Paris a bribe. Hera promised him power, Athena offered wisdom, but Aphrodite, she knew what she was doing. She promised him the most beautiful woman in the world. Helen, wife of King Menelaus of Sparta. You can guess what happened next. Paris chose Aphrodite, took Helen to Troy, and boom. 10 years of war, countless casualties, and the fall of a great city. All because of a beauty contest and a golden apple. Chapter 8. Narcissus, the original selfie king. Ever heard someone described as a narcissist? Well, that term comes from a Greek myth, and it doesn't exactly paint a flattering picture. Narcissus was a handsome young man who was so incredibly vain, so enamored with his own reflection, that he couldn't tear himself away. One day, he caught sight of himself in a pool of water and became completely captivated by his own image. He stared at his reflection for days, unable to eat or drink, until he eventually wasted away and died. In some versions of the myth, he's transformed into a flower, the narcissus, that blooms by the water's edge, forever gazing at its own reflection. The Greeks used this story as a cautionary tale about the dangers of vanity, self-obsession, and a lack of empathy for others. Chapter 9. Hades, misunderstood, king of the underworld. Now, let's talk about Hades. He's often depicted as this dark, evil figure in popular culture, but the ancient Greeks didn't see him that way at all. Sure, he was the ruler of the underworld, the realm of the dead, but he wasn't some evil overlord, he was just doing his job. Hades was responsible for maintaining order in the underworld, ensuring that the dead were properly judged and sent to their designated afterlives. The Greeks respected him, even feared him, but they didn't associate him with the same kind of hellish torment that later cultures did. He was a powerful god, to be sure, but not inherently evil. Chapter 10. Same gods, different names. Here's a fun fact. The Greek gods didn't stay confined to Greece. When the Romans came along, they were so impressed by Greek mythology that they adopted it as their own. Well, they did make a few tweaks. They kept the stories, the powers, even the personalities. They just gave the gods a Roman makeover. Zeus became Jupiter, Aphrodite became Venus, Ares became Mars, and so on. It's kind of like the ultimate cultural exchange program. This Roman adaptation is why we still see the influence of Greek mythology in our art, literature, and language today. Outro. Keep exploring the cosmos and the myths. Thanks for joining us on this mythological journey. We've only scratched the surface of this rich and complex world, but I hope you've gained a new appreciation for the enduring power of Greek mythology. If you enjoyed these facts, don't forget to like, comment, and share with your friends. Let's keep the conversation going. Stay tuned for more fascinating insights into the ancient world.